Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar. This is part three of the year-end guitar collection video. More exciting stuff coming up. So today in part three, we're going to have, again, keeping up with the theme, going to show you the guitars, open the boxes, or rather the cases, and it's going to be an interesting mix. This is going to be a little bit more metal-oriented, for lack of a better word. So all of you who like metal, this is perhaps the more metal part of my collection, and they aren't what you necessarily expect. Let's get right into it. All right, folks, we are going to kick off the third segment with something special enough to warrant that. As you can see, this is the old case. This is almost 50 years old. And 50 years ago was a special year, a special time, because that was 1974. A very good year for Les Pauls, a very good year for something in particular. So this is 1974 Gibson Les Paul Custom 20th anniversary, because it's the 20th anniversary of the Les Paul, 1954 to 74. I guess, is 54 the first Les Paul? Anyways, I don't know. Alpine white. And all of you know, this particular guitar, this ear and this color is inextricably linked with a guitar player who is, I would say, a favorite of mine as well, aka Randy Rhoads. So anyways, there you go. This is a Les Paul Custom in Alpine white, 1974, all original. Everything is original on this. And let's just say it is a thing of beauty. I'm not usually into vintage guitars, but as some of you know, I've been going back and forth on many Les Paul Customs over the last few years. And when a 1974 Les Paul Custom in white, or rather now very faded yellow, popped up at a very good price, it was something it was difficult for me to say no to. You can see a lot of honest wear on this one. This is not Murphy Labs. This is the reality. A little bit of checking here, checking on the neck, some buckle rash over here, some checking here as well. These are the old wafer style tuners, gold hardware. Of course, there's some dings and bangs. Yeah. Let's put this thing down carefully. So, this is a very recent acquisition. What do I have to say about it so far? Few things. It is a very, very different beast from a modern Les Paul Custom. It is also a very, very different beast from a R9, which is another relatively recent acquisition. The R9 is much more civilized. This one is much more gritty. And in particular, the bridge pickup is so good. I'm not a big fan of neck pickup on this one. It's not sweet enough for me, for a Les Paul. But that bridge pickup, oh my god, that is literally made for... if you think of bands like Mastodon or Lamb of God, you know, that kind of gnarly... They're very different tones, Mastodon and Lamb of God, but this bridge pickup suits both. And it's really good for that. It's a drop D beast is what this guitar is. So it's perfect for a guitar being, you know, a more metal oriented Les Paul. I really like this binding, all this texture that you're able to see, these old style knobs. I don't know what they're called. Witch hat maybe? Someone like Trogley's would probably know. I'm not the biggest expert on Les Pauls, though I love them. Yeah, and in great condition. The frets, as you can see, I don't know if it's focusing properly, are brilliant. I was really scared because this has the original frets that they would be very worn, but as it turns out, there's plenty of life left in them. This is not an unused guitar, as you can tell, but it is definitely very playable, very amazing. I'll spend a little bit more time with this and I'll have more to say, but initial impressions are very, very good. That this could finally be the keeper Les Paul Custom that I'm looking for. It is now raining outside, so this is the best time to show you the darkest, the blackest guitar in the collection. Yes. As the thunder rolls behind you, you can feel it. You can feel the atmosphere build despite the puppy playing with the tennis ball next to you. Because what you have here is a black Gibson Explorer. And not just any Gibson Explorer. This is called a Shred X. It's got bare knuckles, cold sweat and nail bombs. It's got a Kaler tremolo. It's a proper tremolo. Ebony fretboard. All black everything. Black inlays. I don't know if you can see them. Let's see if you can see them. See? There you go. 1, 2. Yep. Black, all black. Black hardware. Everything. So, just to give ourselves a little bit more light, this is a Gibson Shred X Explorer 2008 guitar of the month or week. This was a limited run. It was supposed to be inspired by the Explorers of the 80s. I think they made one major fault, which is that they had a Kaler tremolo, but no locking nut. Hence, tuning stability on this, if you use the whammy bar, leaves much to be desired. This is also a very heavy beast. I'm heavier than any Les Paul that I have. I made one change to it. I changed the EMGs to bare knuckles. In retrospect, I'll probably would love to swap the EMGs back, so I may do that on some day. 3-way toggle. Oh wow, that's loud. Neck volume, bridge volume, master tone. I think I'll have the Tony Iommi SG out next because it's just too tempting given the weather. But yeah, so what's there to know about this guitar? I think it's a very interesting Explorer. It's very Hetfield inspired, but the lack of a hardtail makes it a little bit more versatile, I would say. I really like this because the Black Explorer has been on my list of dream guitars for a very long time. So this is another guitar, one of the first Gibsons I ever got. I think this was the second Gibson I ever got, the first one being the Baritone Explorer. And just a dream come true to have an all black Explorer. So this is not going anywhere. I don't play it enough. It's kept in drop C. I should probably play it a little bit more. It's a nice guitar to play. The neck is a bit thin for me. That's one thing with Explorers. It always tend to have thin necks, other than the historic 50s reissues, which then look a little bit too earthy for me. I don't like the look of the Corina Explorer. So something like this with a thick neck would be like my perfect Explorer, but for now, this is my perfect Explorer. Okay, we'll move on to the Tony Iommi SG then. Thunder and the rain continues, and you have the perfect guitar. I already told you what it is. There you can see the cross. Just like the beginning of the song Black Sabbath, thunder is in the background. There's some werewolves howling, or just barking. And inside, here you go. Wait, you can't see the guitar just yet. You have to peel open the onion, and there you go. All black. This is the original Tony Iommi signature from Gibson. Excuse me. The Tony Iommi SG, all black, ebony fretboard, Gibson Tony Iommi pickups, inverted cross inlays, regular SG body, not a very big neck, thin SG like neck, and then of course a double horn again. Alright, so let's take a closer look. So, this one I realize it's a bit noisy out here, but I just want to get a better look at the guitar. Is a very, very good SG. That's the way I would think of it, really. It's the kind of guitar that you can play rock on, a little bit of metal on. The pickups are suitable for that. They are slightly higher output. I wouldn't call them my favorite pickups, but they are good for like a rock or a application, a rock or a metal application. Not necessarily what you would have to lose. And to be clear, Tony Iommi uses P90s, so you need to be aware of that. Or not really big P90s, you know what's there on the Monkey. But this is similar to what he would be using live, and this guitar is really based a little bit on that. And he did collaborate with Gibson on the pickups. I really like having this guitar because big fan of Tony Iommi, Black Sabbath, and of course that is where metal began. As much as I'm not much into hero worship, I just feel that Tony Iommi's signature model is something worth keeping. And I need to keep one SG. I like to have one of each. I have a Flying V. I have many Explorers because I like Explorers. I'm not the biggest SG fan, but if I had to keep an SG, it had to be the Tony Iommi SG, and this is the reason why this one sticks around. If you are considering getting one, what do I need to tell you? Nothing much really. It will be what you expect. Standard Gibson USA quality. Ebony fretboard feels nice for sure. There is a little bit of drama with the little whale or whatever you want to call this, just drapery. It's good. It's just a good SG. If you like SGs, you will love it, and if you don't like SGs, it will be okay. And the good thing with SGs is it's just quite compact, so even carrying this hard case around is not very difficult if you want to go for gigs or something. Alright, this is the Tony Iommi SG. Now is when we continue the all black theme with the black feather behind us and open a very unusual guitar, a very, very rare guitar. I think there are less than 10 of these. And what this is it is maybe the most metal Les Paul out there, and I'll explain why. It's an ESP, so of course it's an ESP Eclipse. You can take a quick look at it. All black, just like a Les Paul Custom, black hardware, master volume tone, EMGs. But guess what? It's a 7-string, and it's an original ESP before they became E2. So it's a 7-string Les Paul Custom is one way of looking at it, but it's not just a 7-string Les Paul Custom. It's also baritone. So this is a 27-inch scale 7-string Les Paul Custom. Just hold this for a second. Put this aside. So very, very incredibly awesome and incredibly rare guitar. They don't make this as a regular model. They made a small run of it for an Australian retailer. A Singaporean dude happened to be there and happened to buy one. This was 10 years ago, and he happened to sell it to me about a year back. This is not a guitar that is easy to find, but it's a little funny though, because think of what an obvious guitar this is. I mean, baritones are all the rage, 7-strings are all the rage. So having a 7-string baritone Les Paul of incredibly high quality sounds like something ESP should be making more of. Perfect ebony fretboard, flawless, no inlays. And yeah, in general, it's just such a high quality guitar. When you compare ordinary guitar, like say a made in China or a made in Indonesia, you compare it to a made in Japan guitar, there is just no comparison. The fretwork on these guitars is perfect, quality is flawless. They're pretty much almost as good as USA PRSs and much, much, much better than Gibsons. So if you are a metal kind of a guy who loves Les Pauls, this perfectly hits the ticket for you. Other things as well. This has the traditional neck, traditional neck joint in a way, so it'll feel very familiar to anybody used to a Les Paul, but it has a belly carve and slightly more ergonomic, and it has 24 frets, so accessibility is much easier. So it's traditional, yet it's very modern. It's the perfect transition to you if you want to go from your Les Paul Black Beauty into something heavier or even a little bit more ambient. This is an awesome guitar. The EMGs sound great too. EMGs get a bad rap, which I think is unfair. I'm actually a fan of them. So yeah, a very nice guitar, which I'm very happy to have in the collection. There are large guitar cases and then there are large guitar cases. This is another Explorer, but this is not a Gibson. As you could see, it's an ESP. And this is very, very special. Possibly even more special than the Gibson we saw earlier. Yes, this is the James Hetfield. Let me see if I can show this to you properly. There you go. This is the James Hetfield Snakebyte. Limited edition baritone in quilt purple. This is not the ESP version, this is the LTD version. Let's just be clear on that one. So it's not made in Japan, it is made in Korea. Which is not a bad thing because these are really great. There's a lot of snobbery about country of origin. But what I will tell you is that based on my experience, something that is made in Korea is generally very good, and especially if it's made to high specifications like this one. I don't know if this is a maple veneer or a maple top, but as you can tell, it has a lot of character, so it almost doesn't matter at this point. The pickups are the same as what you'd get on the Japan one, which is the Hetfield EMGs. Black hardware, ebony fretboard. This is not a pure black ebony. This does have a lot of character, but again, that's not a bad thing. I really like how it looks. It's got the Snakebyte insignia, James Hetfield signature, etc., etc. Again, let me just show you the back. So, and again, pardon my camera as it keeps going in different directions. So, kind of a gloss black. It's a gloss finish. You can see a lot of reflection on this one, but that gives you an idea what the guitar is like. It of course has the battery compartment and the control cavity. So what do you need to know about this? These are highly sought after, of course, going up like crazy on the used market. Is it worth the price of entry? I think so, because they're much cheaper compared to the ESP, and honestly, I love ESPs. I have so many of them. I would not say that this thing's quality is bad. I would say it's really, really good. It's not got that final polish of an ESP, but these are subtle differences that we're talking about. I bought this actually, as you can tell, perhaps. Let me show you some of the paraphernalia I have. This is the certificate of authenticity. But here is the cool part. I bought this from the ESP workshop in Japan. There's a shop, the home of ESP in Tokyo, and I got it from there. So that is something that's really cool about this particular piece. So you have literally, here you go, ESP Guitar Workshop. Bought new. I'm the first owner, and I'm taking good care of it. I'm dropping things all over, but no, it's in really good shape. It's practically new. Will I sell this guitar? I think I might at the right price. I mean, because I don't play it enough, and this falls under the same trap that signature artist models fall for me, that I end up not playing them because they have too much value to not be played. And it's just, if I have so many guitars, why should I spoil the value of something? I'll play something else that I like. So that's the reason why, unfortunately, I don't play it as much as I should. But yeah, all right, here we go. The ESP LTD Snakebyte. So this is an even larger case than the Snakebyte. This is also an Explorer, and for me this guitar is a good example of why sometimes you just need to ignore branding and look at the fundamentals of a guitar. So let's open it up, and then I'll tell you about what makes this guitar very, very special and what makes it maybe the most value for money guitar, especially used. In fact, you can only get it used out there. So let's open it up. That is a very, very good looking guitar. That is a massive piece of flame maple, and it's a piece of flame maple, it's not a veneer. Ebony fretboard, Seymour Duncan pickups, great quality nut, great frets, blocking tuners. So this is a Chapman Ghost Fret. For those of you who are not that familiar, Chapman is a company that is a British company by a YouTuber, Rob Chapman, and these guitars were made in Korea. This is a special model. They made a initial run of it which had Seymour Duncan pickups. So this is a made in Korea guitar which is very high quality, same quality as PRS SE or the old PRS SE when they were still made in Korea, or ESP Ltd. It has better specs than those guitars because it has proper USA specs. See, that's a proper flame maple top. It's a thick piece of maple as well. Amazing pickups, everything. And you know what? These guitars are not even worth $500 today. And if you had to, and it comes with this hard case as well. So, especially the first run, if you can get that for about $500, you cannot get an equivalent guitar, a new guitar with these specs for less than $3,000 or maybe $2,500. Especially not something that has everything like this has. Why do I have this guitar? Well, I was fond of this guitar when I first heard of it. I was following Rob Chapman at the time. I like Explorer shapes. I wasn't sold on the blue color, but it has really grown on me, and I think with this flame it looks exceptionally better. And I'm not a big fan of the headstock, but I can ignore that. And beyond the specs, this is an incredibly good guitar. I mean, if you have this guitar, logically speaking, you'll never feel like you're lacking for something. You never feel that there's a much better guitar out there. You need to upgrade to a more expensive guitar. This feels like a very expensive guitar. So if you're good with the Explorer shape, which maybe some of you aren't, but a lot are as well, I highly recommend you find one of these original Ghost Frets. These are the made in Korea first run. This is not the cheaper version made in Indonesia with poorer specs, and these will be incredibly great value for money. So here we go, the Chapman Ghost Fret in blue, some sort of blue, first run with Seymour Duncans. To round off the Explorers, this is not only perhaps the largest case in my collection. This is my favorite Explorer, and also not only my first Gibson that I bought, but also my favorite Gibson. And this is a very, very unique beast. It's a unique color, it's a unique spec, and you don't see them, and they're impossible to find. And this is a Silverburst Gibson Explorer Baritone. You can see the length of this thing as we go forward. So as I pick it up, and it is a big guitar, let's talk a little bit about this model. So what is this? It's a Gibson Explorer from 2011. It was a limited run. It is a 28-inch scale. That's massive. It has 24 frets, not 22. And it's of course in Silverburst. Mostly the front and the back is black, if I remember correctly. Yeah, of course the back is black. There's not much to remember. And while I am balancing this case and making sure we have no damage, let me tell you about the guitar. So, limited run 2011, Gibson made very few of these, only in Silverburst. These are impossible to find. These have a mahogany body. They have unusual fretboard. I can't remember the material, but it's not rosewood. It's some other substitute. And otherwise, specs are pretty standard. Gibson Explorer, 3 knobs, 2 humbuckers, pneumatic bridge, 3-way switch. But the main thing to note is the humbuckers in this originally, which are still with me. I think they were 496R, 500T something, but not great. They were not suited for playing baritone. So what I did is I have bare knuckle painkillers in them, and my god, they take to this guitar like a fish to water. And I also added the coil split. So this guitar is a beast. I think I currently have it in A standard drop G, which means it is tuned, instead of being tuned from E to E, it's tuned from A to A with the drop D style, so it's like a drop G. It's great for metal, but it's really good for ambient, and I really use it mostly for ambient to create these very eerie atmospheres. It's very addictive actually. This is one of my favorite guitars. It's been with me for a long time. So the story is, I really wanted a Gibson Explorer, and guess what, the local shop did not have a normal Explorer, they only had a Baritone Explorer, and I was really bummed. I was like, why? But then I was like, I have a feeling that I will like baritone guitars sometime in the future. And this was 2015, when baritone guitars were not known to be. So as I was saying, I got it in 2015. At that particular point in time, baritone guitars weren't really a thing, but I had a feeling it might just be something I like. And I knew that this was rare, so I made sure to get it. It was a very good thing I did, because these are impossible to find now, and they're probably worth at least 4 times what I paid for it. So yeah, it was a good decision to get it back then. Not that this guitar will be on sale. This is a very emotional guitar for me. It's been with me for a while, my first Gibson. It's there in a lot of family photos, etc., just by chance. So I'm not going to sell this. Do I keep getting so many offers for this guitar? I have to always inform them, no, this is not for sale. Not in the conceivable future, but who knows, right? You can never say never to life, but not for now. I really like this guitar. It is an incredible instrument. Of course, it's regular Gibson USA quality, etc., but I would have to say this is one of the better ones. So if you manage to get your hands on this, there is no substitute for the real McCoy, frankly. I mean, I like the Snakebyte LTD, but this guitar is in a different league altogether. And so yeah, even though this case is massive and takes up a big chunk of my square footage, I'm not going to let this guitar go anywhere else anytime soon. Okay, we'll move on to another guitar with a very, very large case. This is the widest guitar case I own for sure, but this is not the largest guitar. This is another guitar that Actually, not another guitar. This is a very unique guitar in the sense that it took me, I think, 15 years to buy this guitar. Not this particular guitar, but this model. And the reason for that is, as some of you may know, or if you don't, I'm a big Children of Bodom fan. If there are bands that completely transform my guitar playing, or guitarists, Alexi Laiho would be up there. But his choice of guitar was never my cup of tea. And because I'm not blindly into hero worship, I didn't want to get Alexi Laiho's signature just because Laiho played it. But I was always very intrigued by it, though I knew that it's a big V with a big thing, with a big fin. I'm not sure if I like it. Almost bought one in 2008. In fact, was selling my Epiphone Les Paul at the time to fund it. But then last moment, what happened was I was about to buy it, but the buyer for my Epiphone Les Paul pulled out. And hence I didn't have the funds to buy one. And then I looked at it again over and over the years, but it was only this year when I was able to do a very nice trade for another PRS of mine that I finally decided to take a plunge. And what a wonderful plunge it was, because look at that. I mean, still not my cup of tea in terms of having only one pickup, but I do love the Floyd now, and this color. I'm realizing I'm starting to have a thing for aged white guitars. I have a Les Paul Custom, I have a Universe, and now this, all which were pristine white originally and now have yellowed into this beautiful color. So just to tell you what this is the ESP, which means this was built about 10-12 years ago, before the E2 rebranding. ESP signature, made in Japan, as you can see. Laiho, I don't know whether it's called a sawtooth or whether it has a name, but it definitely has a sawtooth inlays. This is a unique guitar in terms of the specs. It's a very specific taste of Alexi Laiho, and all his guitars are like this. It's his shape. It was originally a Jackson Road shape, but he took it over to ESP and they made its own thing. It has only one humbucker, a Seymour Duncan Blackout, which is surprisingly amazing for lead. And you would think only having a bridge humbucker would restrict this guitar, and only a bridge humbucker, no tone volume, no tone. just a volume and just one boost, but it's incredibly effective because you get such a good tone out of the box that you don't really need to do much, and the tone works for both lead and rhythm, and you can always add a little bit of boost. So it's actually very practical for metal. It's got a Floyd, it's got sawtooth inlays, pristine ebony fretboard, blacked out headstock. It is surprisingly not that difficult a guitar to play. It is comfortable if you know how to play a V, that you have to mount it on your knees. I just got it recently. I got this and a lot of cash in return for a PRS hollow body, and it was a very good trade to make, both for me and the other person as well, because he managed to get a PRS hollow body at a subsidized price, a brand new one, almost new one, and I managed to get this and some cash. One of those win-wins. I need to spend a little bit more time about this guitar to give you a definitive conclusion. I've been having a little bit of trouble with the Floyd, setting it up. I think I just need to spend a little bit more time. I haven't really had the time. I was trying to do a quick 5-minute job. So once I do that, once I have a bit more time, probably next year, I'm going to do a detailed review on this guitar. I'm not going to attempt to play Children of Boredom because I'll just embarrass myself, but I will give you a rundown with my limited knowledge. Okay, so this is the Alexi Laiho. After taking you through the signature guitar of a guitarist who influenced me, Alexi Laiho, this is another one from the same camp. The thing is, when I first heard Children of Boredom, when I first heard songs like Every Time You Die or Bed of Razors, it told me that music could be beautiful and brutal at the same time. Usually the two were disparate. And with this artist, it was the same thing. It was music that could be heavy yet super beautiful. And all my adventures in ambient guitar are really thanks to this guitarist introducing me, showing me that road. And this is, of course, Rabia Masad, a modern guitarist. He's even younger than me, but almost the same age, maybe a year younger. But regardless, his influence on me has been tremendous. And once I found one of these, I could not pass them up. So this is another baritone. This is the Bea Baritone, Chapman ML1 Bea. I think it's ML1 or ML2 or ML3. I don't remember, but the Telecaster shape. This is a baritone, much like the Explorer I showed you earlier. This is 28-inch scale, massive thing. This is in this lovely dark maroon, almost purple. It's a Telecaster shape, and it has a mini humbucker neck and a humbucker bridge. And what I've done is I have put the authentic humbucker. So this is a made in Korea Chapman guitar. This comes with Chapman branded pickups, but Rabia's actual guitar has a Warpig, and that's what I put in here. I managed to get a good Warpig at a good price, so it was but obvious to make that. What else? Ebony fretboard, flame maple veneer. So this is different from the Chapman I showed you earlier. This is a flame maple top, a regular top with a flame maple veneer. I believe this has an alder body, bolt-on neck. This is an unusual satin, I think it's a Wenge neck if I'm not mistaken. High quality parts, locking tuners. I think it has stainless steel frets, again I can't be sure, but whatever, doesn't hardly matters because the quality is just amazing. So this, for me, similar to the other Chapman, represents the epitome of what you can make in Korea. And these are not made in USA guitars, but they might as well be in terms of the quality. Some of the specs are not quite up to made in USA levels, but the quality is definitely up there. And the other thing that you have to know is that it is a very, very inspiring guitar to play. It makes you play in ways that you don't normally play. It's a baritone, so I've tuned it from B to B. It has a 5-way coil split, master volume, master tone, all the tones you need. The neck pickup being a Mini 59 style, not the actual Mini 59. At some point, maybe I'll put the actual Mini 59 in here. Seymour Duncan Mini 59, but for now, it's okay. Gives it a big sound, a big volume difference between the neck and the bridge. But the combined positions work surprisingly well, and the splits work surprisingly well, which is really cool to have in a baritone guitar. So yeah, overall a wonderful guitar. They don't make these anymore because, of course, firstly, they made a newer model, but more importantly, Bea is no longer with Chapman Guitars. That said, if there's a point in time that defined his music, it was this guitar and really the Tosca music. A lot of baritone, a lot of regular guitar was used in it, and it was also their album, both their EP and then the big album that they did. I'm forgetting the name, how could I? But one of my favorite albums, the only album that Tosca ever did. The name is just escaping me. Fire in the Silos. Check that out if you haven't heard it already. It's all instrumental. I normally cannot stand for instrumental music, but this is something different. And this guitar is the integral part of that sound, which is why I like it and I keep it. Okay. We'll move on to another Chapman guitar, and that will close off my Chapman collection. Okay. Rounding off the Chapmans is yet another baritone, yet another nice hard case. This is a regular Chapman baritone. When I say regular, Pro Series made in Korea, but again, like most Chapman Pro Series guitars, just incredible value for money for the modern guitarist. And the reason I got this is I just wanted a baritone that I could just experiment around with in tunings, etc. And I didn't have to worry too much about the value or anything, right? Because the Baritone Explorer is quite a rare thing. The Bea is also a signature guitar. This one is not a signature guitar, but it is a very, very nice guitar. So similar to the Bea, this is made in Korea. This is the 28-inch scale baritone. This is the Strat shape, so I guess this is called ML1, I think. And it's got a very nice satin finish, satin charcoal almost. Same ebony fretboard, stainless steel frets, ebony veneer, locking tuners. So this is indeed ML1 Pro. So the Bea was ML3, I think. And what makes this impressive is look at that. Neck through. So very high spec, right? These are expensive things to do. This has, it looks like mahogany wings actually. Yeah, these are definitely mahogany. Maple neck through. 2 humbuckers. These are Chapman humbuckers, so these are not branded, but these are pretty decent. And master volume, master tone, 5-way switch. Very high quality guitar for the money, especially used. I got this new because I thought this was good enough to buy new, and I got the Bea used new as well. I haven't used it enough though, so it's something that's been lying around. My experiments in baritone guitars have been a little taken over by my experiments in 7-string, 8-string guitars. So when I bought this, I was a 6-string player, and since then I have become like a 7 and 8-string player. So this guitar is a little neglected. Hence, this particular guitar is on sale. I think I put it up for sale. I'm not really sure. I have to check my listings. It's a nice one. If you want a high quality baritone, if you want to experiment with baritone guitar and you want a high quality one to start off with, and with not too much money, I mean, this uses less than $1,000. This is a very, very good option. Of course, it's a little bit more for you if you have a little bit more modern taste. That's where the pickups are. This is more for modern music. This is not your baritone for country, etc. I do have something that does do that. But for the money, you get a lot. You get the hard case. You get a very neck through, high quality hardware, high quality everything, bridge, tuners, etc. The pickups are also possible, more than possible, and a beautiful satin finish and very nice to play and feel. So a good add to any collection, and no love lost even if I don't sell it. I think I may just come around to my baritone experimentation sometime later. By the way, look at that carve. That's very nice. You know, that kind of a 3D carve is expensive to do. You don't get this on cheap guitars. Alright, so that was the baritone ML1 Chapman.